Up+Adam.
Tractor systems are offline.
We are Beyond FM.
Beyond FM.
The future of broadcasting is here.
Up+Adam with Adam Montiel. It's community content from Concentrate. It's Up+Adam with Adam Montiel.
Some say life is where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Yes, some say life is just where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again.
Happy Monday, back at it. Thank you so much for being Up+Adam. My name is Adam Montiel. I want to thank anyone and everyone who came out to Pink Drank and celebrated with us, whether you were a volunteer, you paid for a ticket, you won a ticket off this show, you were a producer and came to pour. I don't know. There was just so much good vibes and good feeling at Pink Drank. It was cool. KSBY even came to cover it.
All right, before we go, a season of pink filled the San Luis Obispo Elks Lodge this afternoon for an event supporting local wine and a good cause. The Pink Drank Pool Social saw crowds of people dressed in pink celebrating the Central Coast's best rosé, cocktails, and curated bites. Organizers say the sales from today's Pink Drink event will go toward the Woods Humane Society, Slow Youth Activities, and the Elks National Foundation. Attendees tell us the social was a great way to spend their Saturday.
Well, I'm an Elk member, and so they've been promoting it a long time, and yeah, I just wanted to help. It's all for charity, so and I know some of the people here, so it should be a lot of fun. Where else would you want to be on a Saturday other than the Elks, benefiting a good cause and you know, being next to a pool?
Although today's Pink Drink event ended at 6, organizers say you can still donate to the cause by visiting pinkdrink.org.
I just love hearing him say drank. Like, okay, he's so refined. Pink Drank. I don't know why I am so bad at covering that event with pictures and videos. I'm just running around so much and having too much fun, but I got some pics, but a lot of folks did. They've been tagging. So if you got them, make sure you tag Pink Drank online. The Instagram is pinkdrank_pool social. You can find it right on my Insta because I've been doing a lot of collab posts with them, but I'm just happy that the event went without a hitch. It was great. Some good, fun swimming. More people in the pool than ever. It was really cool. So much thanks to everyone involved. Elks 322, Woods Humane Society, all the folks involved with Pink Drink. All right, today, headaches. We've all had them. But what if that just pop an Advil throb is actually hiding one of the most understood, misdiagnosed, and flat out debilitating medical mysteries of our time? Coming up, we're going to sit down with Tom Zeller Jr. He's an award-winning science journalist, former New York Times reporter, editor-at-large for National Geographic, and now the author of a powerful new book called The Headache. And he's not just writing about pain, he's living it. From experimental drug trials to psychedelic therapies, from the ER to the bathroom floor, Tom takes us deep inside the agonizing, infuriating, and often invisible world of headaches, even cluster headaches. The research, where is it at? A world where science is finally starting to catch up. It's refreshing. And if you think you know what a headache is and what all it entails, you definitely want to check this out because you might not. All right, before we get into our chat today, this story, I don't know if you could script this any better. A guy named James Shannon Farthing, he hit Kentucky Lottery's biggest jackpot ever. A cool $167.3 million, all from a $2 Powerball ticket. But instead of enjoying yachts and private chefs, he spent most of the time behind bars. Dude has a 16-page rap sheet, 36 years of felonies, and more time in lockup than out. Seriously, literally 30 years spent bouncing through 25 different prisons. His crimes? Well, strap in. Strangling a girlfriend, dealing coke, smuggling Xanax and Oxy into prison, even dragging his poor 77-year-old mom into a weed smuggling plot. Oh, and bribing a guard, escaping a work detail, and turning inmate shakedowns into literally businesses and side hustles while in. After winning the lottery, the guy and his girlfriend hit a Florida beach resort to celebrate. Problem, he never told his parole officer. Days later, arrested again. This time for allegedly kicking a cop in the face during a drunken brawl at the hotel. This guy is a piece of work. That got him extradited back to Kentucky, tossed into county jail, where they even hid his name from the inmate roster because, well, safety. Dude is now out on an $11,000 bond, facing new felony charges, of course, and still tangled in parole violations. His arraignment is literally today. And let's not forget, he once tattooed Mama's Bad Boy across his chest. This guy, like we said, a piece of work. You know, just in case you weren't clear on the vibe this guy is trying to put out there. Now, as for the money, it's his. It's his. No one's contesting the ticket. Criminal history does not block you from cashing in a $167 million Powerball. So unless he loses it all to court fees, bail and fines, or just justice in general, he's walking with it. Can you think of a scarier person to have now $167 million at their feet? Like, it could have got, no one else could have won it. Like, is that, I guess that's what dumb luck. Man, what a story. Now, before we jump in to our chat with Tom Zeller Jr., this is an interesting conversation. You know what hits different in the summer? And that is getting outside without getting eaten alive. Mosquitoes are out now. Life Elements, they make a clean, safe, plant-based bug spray. And guess what? Newsflash, it actually works. It repels mosquitoes and ticks. It's safe for your kids, your dog, your skin. No harsh chemicals, no weird stickiness. This is next level local skincare and wellness, handcrafted right here on the Central Coast by the kind of people who might just literally whip up something for you while you're in there and hand it to you as a sample. Martha and Kurt are absolutely great, great people. In addition to their spot in Atascadero, Life Elements, you can also shop their products at the Hive in Arroyo Grande, the General Store in Paso, and of course, lifeelements.com. Use the promo code ADAM when you're there. Get 15% off, or just let them know, Adam, when you're in there. Smell good, feel better, support something real. Check out my friends at Life Elements. Get to lifeelements.com. Even better, head on in there. Check them out, 7425 El Camino Real, back right corner of the plaza. Cannot miss it. Big ass sign, lifeelements.com.
It's Up and Adam with Adam Montiel.
All right, my guest today, someone who's taken one of the most brutal, invisible afflictions a person can really face, but they've turned it into a story that's part science, part soul, and all info. Tom Zeller Jr. He's an award-winning journalist, former New York Times reporter, editor-at-large for National Geographic, and the editor-in-chief of On Dark, a digital science magazine he co-founded with Pulitzer Prize winner Deborah Bloom. Well, now, with his debut book, The Headache, he delivers a powerful mix of memoir and investigation into what it really means to live with chronic, unrelenting head pain and why science is just now beginning to understand it. I'm honored to have him up and Adam. Tom, it's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Adam. I appreciate it.
All right, so many people think of headaches just as like background noise, something you pop an Advil for pushing through the day. But for millions, including you, it's something else entirely. What does it feel like to live with a pain that the world doesn't see, but that completely takes over your life?
Well, you describe it really well, so I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the salient distinctions between a common headache, not drinking enough water, or from skipping a meal, or from having too much to drink the night before. I mean, I get those headaches. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about true neurobiological disorders, diseases that no Tylenol, no ibuprofen is going to touch. And I think most people with these disorders will tell you that part of the problem is that we call all of those things headaches, and so you get this sense from people who don't have headaches that they're like, well, I get headaches. Why is it such a struggle for you? Well, it is a category difference, and it's unfortunate that we use the same word.
Now, you've told so many stories throughout your career, Tom. Climate change, poverty, justice. This one made you the subject. The journalist became the patient. What was that moment you realized this wasn't just a health issue? It was your next investigation.
Yeah, I mean, I think I probably would have, I didn't want to write about myself. This was not something that I did as a journalist. As you say, I wrote about every other thing. I always went to other people and asked them what's going on with them. I certainly didn't want to interrogate myself. But at some point when I decided I wanted to write a book, I remembered the old adage, you should write what you know. And the one thing that I really know well is headaches, something that I wouldn't have wanted people to ordinarily know. I think that's common among a lot of headache sufferers, is that we like to kind of keep it a bit secret, in part because we think people aren't going to take it seriously if I complain about headaches. And I certainly felt that. So it was not an easy transition for me to start investigating myself in that way. But I have to say I learned a lot along the way.
In your research, Tom, you explored everything from CGRP injections to psychedelics even. That's not your average doctor's visit. What did psychedelics teach you, not just about pain, but about your own brain?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly taught me that, there's a lot more that we have to learn about natural and normal brain function, and that migraine and cluster headaches would actually be a terrific way for us to sort of kill two birds with one stone. I mean, if you address these disorders, you're helping billions of people and you're pumping billions of more dollars back into the economy, but you're also learning a great deal about the central nervous system itself. So that was one of the big insights that I took away from the book. And if there's a modicum of hope for people who have these disorders, it's that it's starting to be taken a lot more seriously, even at the scientific level. Great.
In the book, you don't just reference gender bias in passing. You really pull back the curtain on how women's pain has been dismissed for centuries, from even migraine personalities to misdiagnosis. What surprised you or even infuriated you most when uncovering the gendered roots of how headache medicine evolved or didn't?
Yeah, I mean, that was sort of a notion, or the understanding that women's health issues in general had not been taken as seriously as men's. It was often considered, psychological, or it was ascribed to hysteria. But it became clear very early on in speaking to scientists that this sort of notion about head pain really has slowed our ability to understand and our interest in spending money on understanding what's going on inside the head, to the detriment of all of us. So I feel the effects of my headache disorder not having been paid much attention to, in part because women's head pain is not taken seriously either.
There's a line in a guest essay you did for the New York Times back in 21. There's never been a better time for a headache, and it stops people in their track, a sentence that's almost ironic. It hurts. When you wrote, there's never been a better time for a headache, what did you mean? And I think you were researching the book, or you were putting together the book at this time. What don't people realize about the moment we're in right now?
They may not realize that just in 2018, which is like 7-8 years ago, the very first drugs ever purposely designed to treat migraine and cluster headache went onto the market. So for all of history, for the last 1,000 years, and certainly the last century, all drugs that were given to someone suffering from migraine or cluster headache were drugs that were developed for other diseases. They'd give you an antidepressant, they'd give you an anti-seizure medication, an anti-epileptic, they might give you steroids, run the gamut. All of these drugs designed for other disorders, and maybe seemed to kind of, sort of help people with headaches because there was nothing else to give them. So we're out of that era now. We're in an era where a whole group of new medications blocking certain neurotransmitters are helping a lot of people. Not everyone. There's not been a miracle cure, but it's certainly true that science is paying a lot more attention to these disorders, in part because pharmaceutical companies now realize they might be able to make a buck. There's new avenues to explore. So I think that's the reason I say, boy, there's never been a better time to have a headache.
Anyone who's battled, Tom, a serious headache knows the desperation. You try everything from the new meds to the old wives' tales. I remember someone telling me that little pushy part in between your thumb and index finger, like we're just one squeeze away from relief. In your own journey, are there any little weird hacks, pressure points, rituals, no matter how unscientific, I don't care, that you still find yourself going back to when things get bad?
Personally, no. For me, I put my faith in science, and I certainly feel like these new CGRP blockades actually do make a difference for me. That said, the book is full of stories from other headache sufferers who try every possible thing, and they do have their go-to sort of rituals. They'll either sit in certain chairs, or they'll massage certain parts of their neck, or they'll kind of rock back and forth, whatever it is, or they'll drop acid. I mean, it's just like it sort of runs the gamut. And my position is, If it works for you, then God bless, because, if science doesn't really know that much better.
Someone close to me went through this, and excruciating headache, certain part of the head. Then it's like the gamut, right? MRIs. Oh, no, MRAs. And then neurologist, all this stuff. And then could it be a blood? Oh, it's not a blood clot. All the things. How do you mentally manage a condition that could send you into an endless medical odyssey where each test promises answers, but most return with shrugs?
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of the psychological distress that comes with these disorders. I mean, I can't remember what the actual statistic is now, but for a long time, it would take a typical migraine or cluster headache patient almost 6 or 7 years to get to an actual diagnosis. They would go through, see doctor after doctor who would say, well, it's probably your sinuses, or, it's this or it's that, or let's give you an MRI. It might be a tumor. And so they're on this constant long cycle trying to get to a diagnosis. I think that's getting better. I think that doctors are starting to pay a little bit more attention and learn more about these things, but it's still a long journey.
Well, I love how you write about the CGRP, that kiss between the neuros. The book is fantastic. Put a link in the show notes. Tom, really would hope to cross paths with you again. Loved the conversation. Thank you so much for the time and for being Up and Adam.
Thank you for taking an interest, Adam. I really appreciate it.
Some say life's where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again.
All right, you can find The Headache, the book, wherever you get your books. There's a link waiting for you in the show notes. Check it out on Amazon and learn more about Tom and his work. You can check out Undark magazine, undark.org. All right, coming up Wednesday, California Mid-State Fair kicks off, and I'm going to be interviewing, I promise this is going to be a conversation you're going to get into. Rock and roll history, my man. Don Felder was in the Eagles, wrote those incredibly sick solos, like, I don't know, Hotel California, their solo at the end. Yeah, that's Don Felder. The stories this guy has is incredible. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. When I first started linking up with his people to talk to him, he's performing on the wine night at the California Mid-State Fair. They're like, just, you can ask 1 or 2 questions about the Eagles, but, don't turn it into a whole Eagles thing. So I was respectful, and I just had 2 little questions about the Eagles and his time with them. They were good questions too, and I'll ask them. But this guy was so down to talk about the history of the Eagles. Oh, I mean, he was like, oh yeah, Joe Walsh came in and we were done. So look, we bust it open. We bust that door open. I was respectful. I stuck to my 2 questions. Homeboy was just talking all about it. So I loved it. It was great chat of just rock and roll history. Where were you when this, how this came about? Tell me how that solo, how Hotel California comes together. Unreal. Don Felder going to be on the show tomorrow, Up and Adam, as he gets ready for his California Mid-State Fair performance. What is that next? It's going to be next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday, right? It's the last Friday of the fair, but we're going to talk to him tomorrow. Don Felder of the Eagles. Yes. Pretty cool. All right. Thanks so much to Tom for being on the show today. Appreciate you for rating, reviewing, subscribing wherever you're listening to it, sharing the show with a friend. Really, really, really. You don't even understand how much it means. It really helps others discover the community. Thanks to Moonshiner Collective for original music on the show called Start Again. To our friends at Tamber Winery. Great to see them at Pink Drink. Timbre. You can taste their wines in the village of Arroyo Grande. They do fantastic stuff. Their sparkling wines, incredible. Their Pinot Noirs, awesome. TamberWinery.com. All right, till tomorrow, I'm Adam Montiel. I hope you have a wonderful beginning to your week and a great day. Till we connect again, thank you so much for being Up and Adam.
Some say life's where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again. Let's start again. We'll start again. Let's start again.